In this video, we're going to be breaking down 6 things that you must do in order to get better at Apex Legends. So I haven't been playing Apex for too long. I'm a lifelong competitive Call of Duty player. I started playing Apex a little bit in Season 13. I played through Season 14. I actually just picked it back up about 2 weeks ago in Season 17. But as you can see from the gameplay, I'm already in Diamond, which I know in this season it's not saying much because it was a restructure and it's easy to get Masters. But I'm in Diamond approaching Masters, not playing like a rat. I'm pushing. I actually have a 20 bomb 4K in ranked this season, so I do believe I deserve Masters. I can get Masters in any normal season, and I'm pushing for it right now. But with that being said, I know I haven't been playing Apex for a long time, but I do believe I have good insight into what makes someone good at Apex and how it maybe differs from other battle royales like Call of Duty and Fortnite and things like that. So we are going to be going in descending order when it comes to these things to focus on. So number 1 is actually more important to focus on than number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on the list. So the ranking is intentional. The list in this order is intentional. You need to focus on these things in this specific order to get better at Apex. So starting with number 1, it's going to be you have to focus on gun skill. Now, I know this is the least flashy of the tips, and this is probably the last thing that people want to hear when you're thinking about getting better at Apex, because it's the thing that really you have to work the hardest at, and the thing that's honestly most talent-based. You can learn a lot of other things, but gun skill, there is a little bit of talent and coordination involved with it. But the reason I put this at number 1, and a lot of other people wouldn't put this at number 1, is Apex, even though it has abilities, at its heart is a first-person arcade shooter. That's what it is. And I believe the devs of Apex said they wanted this game to be 80% gun skill and 20% abilities. Unlike Overwatch, which is you have to know how to use abilities or you're lost. You can get Masters in Apex in this game without knowing how to properly use legend abilities. It's going to be a little harder, but it's possible because the game is still centered around gun skill. If you go watch this gameplay or go watch some of your favorite YouTubers gameplays, things like that, check and see how many of their fights they're actually winning due to abilities. Most of the time it's because of insane movement or gun skill. Like I think about Fade off the top of my mind, he plays Wraith. Wraith has no abilities that make you win fights. She has a get out of jail free ability, maybe an intro ability, but no actual fight winning abilities, including her ultimate. But he still goes off because of his movement and gun skill. So gun skill is definitely the most important thing to practice. And as someone who came from COD, there was a shift in how to play. I had to tweak my sensitivity, learn how to properly aim in Apex because it is different than most other shooters. But you have to get in the range, you have to get a ton of reps and practice your gun skill. The second thing you have to focus on to get better at Apex is team play. Team play is huge in this game. This is one of the things that actually shot up my rank from lower to diamond pretty much in 2 days. In things like Warzone and Fortnite, you're able to play the game and squad wipe by yourself. It's just fundamentally easier because it takes less bullets to kill, and there's a lot more maneuvering you can do. You can kill a whole team in one clip. In Apex, because the time to kill is so long, it's very, very unlikely, especially in a ranked environment, that you're going to be able to squad wipe a team 1v3 in a very quick manner unless they just throw. If you're playing against people that know what they're doing, you're not going to 1v3 90% of the time, simply because you're going to have to go through probably 4 to 6 magazines just to kill that whole team. And they're all 3 shooting at you. It's just much harder to do. So what you have to learn to do is play with your team. You have to learn to push with your team. You have to learn when to entry, when to back up, when to help your team when you're on low health, when they should help you on low health, when you should retreat, when you should take different angles, when you should all just push and ape from one doorway. You have to learn a lot about how to play with your team. And if you're trying to play solo, you're not going to get very far. So this means if you're solo queuing, you need to be able to communicate with your team and potentially IGL if they'll listen. But if they won't listen or aren't talking to you, you need to be able to look at your mini map, watch what they're doing, and have the discipline to play around them, because you can't control how they play, 90% of the time, but you can control how you play. This is obviously much easier when you're stacking with friends, but if you're not, this is still possible to do. But you must focus on playing with your team, or you're not going to see a ton of progress in Apex. The third thing you have to focus on to get better at Apex is map knowledge. Now, this is a very, very wide range of things. This is a very vague term, but it includes things like where you're going to drop, pathing from your drop to the circle or to, wherever it is you're going to find fights, different building layouts, which is absolutely huge, and positioning. So walking through each of these things very quickly, where to drop, you need to have a go-to place to drop where you understand, and maybe your friends understand your looting path, how you're gonna cooperate through that zone and come out alive. It's extremely important for you to do. Building layouts, a lot of the buildings are kind of duplicated from place to place around each map, so understanding how the buildings are laid out is going to help you win more fights inside of buildings and help you be prepared for where enemies can come from, where enemies might be, some cheeky angles you might can take. It's really important. When I picked the game back up and started playing Broken Moon for the first time, one of the first things I noticed was I didn't know how most of the map was laid out, and it made it a lot harder to win 3v3 team fights in those specific buildings. And positioning is huge. It could be a tip on its own, but we're not making it a tip on its own because you need to have good positioning in this game. In the game you're watching, in this end game, I was really focused on positioning, making sure we stayed on top of these rocks despite where the rest of the teams were, because positioning is going to win you fights. Much like you can't 1v3, it's very hard to overcome bad positioning in this game just due to the nature of the game. So you have to have great map knowledge and discipline to play according to that knowledge if you want to get better at Apex. The fourth thing you have to focus on to get better at Apex may seem minuscule, but it is really important, is your looting efficiency. This is probably the thing of these 6 that I'm still worst at, especially since I'm on controller, and this is a harder tip to learn if you're on controller. But you have to get better at looting faster off of drop, especially if you're contested. But most importantly, this tip is catered to the reality of when you kill a team, being able to loot them quickly and either move on to your next fight or next location, or prepare for the third party, which is likely to happen. So you need to work through a pattern of understanding what is most important to check for. I need to check for an armor swap if I need it. I need to check for meds, any meds that I need. I need to check for ammo that I might need, and then I need to go check for attachments that might be upgrades for me. A lot of people want to go straight to the things that are going to upgrade their guns or their weapons, but you need to focus on what you need and be conscious always in your mind, hey, I'm low on ammo. When I check this box, I need to get ammo first and then get out if it's necessary. Or, hey, I don't have any cells or bats. I need to check for shields before anything in this crate. And as you get better at looting efficiently, you will win more games and find yourself in less bad scenarios. The fifth thing you must focus on to get better at Apex is general legend knowledge. This is the understanding of what each legend does, what are their pros, what are their cons. When you look at a legend, when you see a legend on the other team, what should you be on the lookout for? You need to know enemy legends more than you need to know your own legend so that you can cater your gameplay around what they're bad at and prepare to counter or avoid their strengths. It's as simple as that. You have to know the general idea of what every legend is going to do. You don't have to master them. You just need to know them if you want to be more consistent and get better at Apex. The last thing you need to focus on in Apex Legends to get better is to master your legend. And yes, this is at the bottom of the list on purpose. Almost everyone wants to focus on picking a legend and mastering that legend, being the best at that specific legend. But I'm telling you now that that is not what's going to win you games. That's not what's going to make you consistently better, is mastering a legend. Legend abilities don't win you games. They may give you the edge in a fight. They may secure a fight. They may help you come back from being down in a fight, but they're not going to win like all the other tips. So focus on all the other tips first, and simultaneously, as you're learning those things, be getting reps in with your favorite legend to get better on that legend, and then ultimately get better at the game. So that's going to do it for me in today's video. If you enjoyed it or learned something, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to see more Apex content in the future, lots of things on my mind. Again, make sure to turn on notifications and subscribe so you don't miss any of that. But I'm Tucky. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.